So I was listening to WPR this morning, and of course they were talking about the Adam Toledo shooting, 13-year-old, I believe, Mexican boy who was shot in Chicago very recently. And they had a criminal journalist on from Chicago talking about the event, and I found his assessment of the event incredibly biased towards hindsight. We have multiple camera angles of what happened, and people I see in how things are being talked about this is they're like, oh, how could the officer shoot, the boy was complying, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, you have to practice something now called putting yourself in someone else's shoes. If you are the officer, you have to go on what you can see. The officer is not a drone and is not able to see from the one camera that was on the pole and is not able to see things in a recorded way. Okay? So, you have reports of gunfire in an area, you're chasing one of the kids, you see that he has the gun, you're telling him to put the gun down and put his hands up. The kid stops where there's a hole in the fence, you see the gun, he is shifting. Well, on camera we can see the gun. He's shifting, and he throws the gun down the fence. As he shifts, the gun becomes obscured by the body. So the officer, if he saw the gun before, could no longer see the gun. So from their perspective, it seems like the individual, Adam, is turning around and going to bring the gun up to shoot the officer. And he is using putting his hands up as a cover to do that. This is a thing that actually goes on and is a very common tactic generally if you're trying to like get one last bang and take an officer out. And I mean, throwing the gun down the fence is not complying. He, to my knowledge, he did not indicate that he was throwing the gun down the fence or anything. Seems like he was trying to hide evidence. So then the officer does the correct thing. He recognizes that it seems like the child has not complied. They have a gun. They have had shots in the area. And to protect his own life, he has to shoot this person because it seems like if he's about to kill the officer, he can kill other people in the neighborhood. It's the only intellectual thing to do. And to say otherwise, to say, oh, that he complied, oh, to say that he didn't have the gun anymore and he was bringing his hands up, that is all hindsight bias. In that moment, from the perspective of the officer, 100% it looked like he was bringing the gun up to shoot him. And to say otherwise is just a total fabrication, total bullshit. And now I have to say, because I'll probably get a lot of hate from a boo dead kid, I don't believe America should have as many guns as there exists. I believe owning a gun is an American right, but I believe that right should be modified a bit so it's the equivalent of like, maybe getting a car or something where you have to have it registered, you have to have insurance, things like that. There needs to be extra precautions to make sure that kids are not getting guns and then shooting up neighborhoods. I don't want to live in a country like that where anybody can just grab a gun and just go and kill people. That's not really that comfortable because I don't want to have to own a gun to then protect myself from some fucking dingbat. I want to be able to just live my life normally and not have to worry about that. Second off, I don't think that the way we deal with criminal justice in America is any way fair. I don't think the government should ever kill its citizens. But when you have situations like this, when you have the proliferation of violence and guns to be so strong that cops, if they didn't have guns, they would be killed on the daily. Like, this is just an end result of the Second Amendment being such a strong foundational aspect to American society, which I generally don't agree with. And also, I do not like cops. I pretty much have never agreed with anything a cop has done. I find most cops to be, frankly, dumb bullies. I have argued with cops in real life. I've flipped off a cop in an unmarked car one time. He tried to give me a speeding ticket when he failed to yield against me. Funny story that. So generally, no, I'm never on the side of cops. But in this situation, putting myself in the cop's shoes, I would shoot every time because I recognize the level of violence that is both posed against me and the threat to my life, but the threat to the community that I'm trying to protect. And that's just the unfortunate reality. Like, I don't like that the kid's dead. I don't think the government should ever kill its citizens. But what the fuck else are we gonna do? Like, this is the way shit is. It's fucking bad. I don't know. I don't like the conversation that's surrounding this story because so much of it is, one, hindsight bias bullshit. Two, the officer somehow knew all these things, when it's like, that's fucking bullshit. And three, a boo 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 dead kid, which, yeah, dead kids, pretty sad. Pretty big fucking tragedy, right? But when you have a society that leaves poor people, generally, I'm just assuming he's poor. I don't know if he is or not. But generally, the reason people commit crime is because they have certain criminogenic needs. And these needs are things that they do that generally infringe on other people's freedom and safety and autonomy to get their own needs met. Whether it's trying to engage in drug trafficking or just getting drugs to use or sell, or that would solve your money need, right? Potentially. But there's also a huge social aspect when it comes to crime that people don't address, that they're not getting met at home. And it seems like this individual had a decent family, maybe, so I don't know. But there is a huge social aspect to crime that makes it very hard to get out of that lifestyle, and people train other people in it. And the way we treat criminals in America is in no way really preventing future crime from happening. Instead, it actually basically guarantees that the recidivism rate of people coming out of prison and jail is going to be 100%. It's fucking tragic. But this scenario seems very, very straightforward and cut and dry to me, that if I was in the officer's position, I'd shoot every time. And I think to say otherwise is completely fucking disingenuous and wrong. And you're not looking at the evidence. And if more evidence comes out, and it turns out that, like, the kid did say he's tossing the gun or whatever, then 100% I'm with the kid. And then that's fucked up. But based on what I know now, based on what I've seen, it just seems like people are just going straight down into the hindsight bias, straight down into the dead kid, and they're just like really sad about that. And I don't know, this is the reality of America. Like, wake the fuck up. People get fucking killed so fucking often. It's so fucking horrible. And like, nobody ever talks about all the fucking the countless dead that went to die in Iraq for fucking George Bush. George Bush should be fucking tried for treason and killed. Same thing with Dick Cheney. Man, this country's fucking stupid. Dumb fuck Republicans.